Good morning, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Momi Robbins Makayla. I want to share with you, first of all, and I hope I remember at the beginning of every video, to let you know that my mission, my prayer for this video series is that we support one another in this game that we call life and on our paths to enlightenment, to the end, so that's my journey. Hide my phone. Anyway, my effort is always going to be toward empowering women. Say that 10 times fast, right? Empower. I want to empower women to embrace our hardships so that we can move closer to the Proverbs 31 women that we all can be. We all have the potential to be Proverbs 31 women. But, it's difficult. And I would like to be a part of creating a community where we can support one another, where there's no judgment, no ridicule, no shame in mistakes that we made, in choices that we made, in decisions and paths that we took. This video series is to support one another. Now, I believe that all of the principles in which we learn and transform comes from the Bible. And so I would like to, share and teach a little bit about the Bible. So what I'm doing is moving through the Bible, through the gospel, and we're starting with the book of Matthew and using the book of Matthew, or the Bible, I should say, to help us become the women that we know, or the women that we know that we can become. So I want you to know that if you are better today than you were yesterday, then you're good. That is the entire goal, and you should be celebrating. If you are better, and we all are, right? And when we're on that road to seeking enlightenment and to being better, that's what happens. We get there. So celebrate the good stuff. Celebrate that you are better today than you were yesterday. Okay? Now, I want you to know that we're always going to talk a wee bit about history in terms of the Bible, just a little bit about maybe writer context where it's applicable, and then we'll explore the message, and I'll pull one important concept from that chapter. So please don't think that I'm giving you, or I'm thinking I'm giving you lessons on the Bible, because that's not what I'm doing. But what I'm trying to do too, and it's helping me, because I'm going through the Bible systematically, and I get to invite the word into my mind, my heart, my body, my soul, and I get to share it with you. And then I get to extract from that chapter just one concept. And there are tons of concepts that you can extract from each chapter, but just one that I think will resonate on your heart. And for Matthew chapter 7, that concept is ask. So how do we ask, right? How do I get what I want? And there's just a few things that I want you to remember. Okay, number one is just ask. Number two, don't be worried about how many times you ask. And number three, don't let anyone tell you how to ask, the right way to ask. Don't let that happen, okay? This is between you and God and me and all of us women who are on the same path to doing what we are wanting to do, okay? So anyway, I don't want to read all of chapter 7. I want to just tell you that Jesus has just come down from the mountain. He's giving the Sermon on the Mount. Remember now, his mission, like Jesus lived about 30 some odd years on earth. The first, up until he was about 30 years old, he was living life, sort of learning how to live life with us, knowing this thing that we call life. So the last few years of his life is when he started his mission. So he went up to the mountain. He was totally led by the Spirit, tempted by Satan, resisted, and then he was ready. He came down and he was ready to fulfill his mission, all the while knowing exactly what was going to happen, beginning to end. So he's come down off the mountain. We're on chapter 7 of Matthew. This is like the last part of the discourse. Now remember, these first few chapters of Matthew is sort of the tenets of Christian discipleship. This is what Christians believe in terms of how we should live our lives. Now, don't think that this is just a law, a rule book, a guide that we must follow. This is what we believe, but we're going to fall, we're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. The great thing about life is every new moment is a new moment. So that's where we are. And, in chapter 7, Jesus is talking, he's speaking to us, he's giving us principles by which to live by. So, he talks about being hypocritical and judging others and how we shouldn't do that. He talks about asking, seeking, and knocking, and I'll come back to that because that's the important concept that I'm going to pull out of this chapter. And then he talks about narrow and wide gates. Now, we're talking about, broad, right? The big gates. Everyone enters to those gates because it's the easier road. But he's saying, when you need to, when it's the right thing to do, don't be afraid to enter into that narrow road. It is the road less traveled. It is more difficult, but in the end, that will get you to where you want to go. And he's always going to be there with us anyway, right? And then he talks about true and false prophets. Just be careful, be mindful not to be deceived. And then by the time we get to verse 24, we're talking about the wise and the foolish builders. And that basically is a teaching to just remember to build a strong foundation or anything to which backtrack, rewind, sorry. If you want to build anything, what's required is a firm foundation. So go ahead and read that. That's verse 24 till 27. And then at the end of chapter 7, it just says, when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching because he taught as one who had authority and not as their teachers of the law. So what that means to me is, I can go and I can learn all of these things and I can come teach it to you. And that's great. And I hope that I can empower you. I think I can help, but I am just a messenger. Jesus is the authority. He is the mightiest king that ever was, is, and will be. And to me, what this is saying is the crowds were amazed at that because they could feel it. You know how when you talk to a certain person and they just have this energy about them? I'm assuming that this is what they're meaning. And a lot of times when you're reading the Bible, just put yourself in that context. Put yourself where they're at and you can feel the Bible come to life inside of you. Okay, but the purpose of this particular video is to talk about asking. And so that means we have to go back to chapter 7. Well, we are in chapter 7, but verse 7. And it says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds. Okay, all of that 5, 6, 7 phrases, it all boils down to ask and it will be given to you. Okay, but it's really telling you ask, seek, find, search. Do what you need to do to get your needs known. And know this. God, to me, you can ask 1,000 times and he won't get sick of you asking. Now, people have told me, you can't bug God. You can't say, God, I want this and God, I want that. Because I'm known to do that. I'm like, I have a list, right? Like a little kid at Christmas. And I'm like, God, I need this and I need that and I need this and I need that. And can you please remember this? And can you please remember that? Okay, thank you. And people have said, well, you can't be bugging him like that. Just ask once. It's enough. Okay? That I don't believe that. If you ask and ask and ask and ask, it does a couple of things. Number one, it reminds you of what it is you need. Okay? And then number two is that it reminds him, not that he needs reminding, but if he knows that you keep asking and asking and asking, not only does he know that that's what you want, but that you're not afraid to ask him, he, the one who can give it to you. Think about it like this. If I were say I was in my class and I taught middle school students, my 12-year-olds, right? Say I wanted a new car and I told them, hey, I want a brand new car. I want a brand new car. I want a brand new car. I want a brand new car, right? They're not going to be the ones to get me a brand new car, right? So who would I ask to get me a brand new car? Well, the one that can get you a brand new car. And you can ask him 1,000 times if you want. But ask him because he's the one who will be the one to give it to you anyway. I've also heard people say, just ask for a few, don't ask for the world. Okay, I tell you why not. He said in the Bible numerous of times, whatever it is you want, you shall get it. You will receive. He says in this chapter, in this verse, ask and it will be given to you. He did not say ask and I will choose to give you part of what you ask for just in case what you ask for is too big. That's ridiculous, right? Think of like when our kids ask us for things. Okay, we don't say, well, we might say in our mind because our pocketbook dictates that, but no, I don't want to give you that. I'll just give you this. If we do that, it's because there are other circumstances that um, that there's other reasons. But in our heart of hearts, we would give them the world. So, ask and ask and ask. Okay, another reason why asking is so powerful, because when you ask and you become in that, you get your mindset into asking and receiving. If you believe that when you ask, you receive, can you imagine what gifts, what lessons you teach your children? That they can ask and then they can expect to receive. What's the point of asking if you're not even sure if you're going to receive, right? The point of asking is to make your needs known. The part about the needs being met, that's you're good. Like that should be a thing that you already know. Okay, that's it. I asked, it's done. And so I kind of want to I am up for a job interview next week, and I'm not going to go in there arrogant or cocky or anything like that, but I've asked for it. And I believe that it's mine. I just do. And I don't always do that, but I think that because I've been practicing what, I'm talking about, because I've been working hard, towards becoming a better person, that it's just becoming natural and also I did the work. I believe that I did everything that I could do to get this job. I believe that I've been through the training. I've made mistakes and I've learned from my mistakes. I am willing to learn from my mistakes. I'm transparent, but I asked and I did all the work and I'm good. So I just believe that it's mine. I asked and I'm expecting to be blessed. And before, I used to think of it as, being arrogant or being cocky, but it's not. It's exactly what he said he wants us to do. And that's what I did. Did I always do that? No. Did I always receive? No. And I think that's partly why I would ask and I wouldn't always expect to receive. So that's what I wanted to talk to you folks about today, is asking and allowing yourself to receive. I was talking to my sister a few weeks ago, and, we talked a little bit about, asking, right? And we talked about making our needs known and looking for opportunities. But I ask you, when you ask, do you open your mind to receiving? Do you look for the opportunities that are being open to you? And just the other day too, someone was telling me a joke. He said, there was this, like a tsunami or something in some city, and this guy, was sitting on the top of a roof, and his house was slowly, going underwater, and there was this lifeboat that came by and said, get it, jump in, I can save you. And he's like, no, I'm waiting for Jesus. And then, so the lifeboat goes on by, and then another lifeboat comes, and he's like, come on, let me save you. And he's like, no, I'm waiting for Jesus. So, while he's waiting, the house is going further and further underwater. So, he drowns, he goes up to heaven, and he's like, God, you said that you were going to save me. And God looks at him and he said, clown, I sent you 2 lifeboats. You denied the lifeboats I sent you. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, where am I being blessed with opportunities, God-given opportunities, and I'm not seeing them? And I thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to close my eyes to the opportunities that God's presenting to me. Now, how do you get the opportunities? Well, you need to ask. Okay, you need to ask. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this version of our show. I hope that you found it helpful to you and a good reminder to receive the blessings that we are all meant to receive as God's princesses and queens, right? We are the princesses and queens of the mightiest king there ever was, is, and will be. We need to step into that role. Ask for what is meant for us and be open to all the opportunities to receive them. Now, please remember that our videos are always meant to empower women, to embrace our struggles, to move so that we can move closer to the women that we know we can be and we want to be. Now, these videos are sponsored by NapuaMagazinesHawaii.com and AlohaMomi.org. Now, I am a writer. I've got a couple of books published out there, and they're ready for purchase. They are in PDF downloadable format, so you can go to the website and purchase them if you'd like. I am, asking for your support. If you think that what I have to say in my books might be something that you'd like to hear, then please, by all means. We are also issuing, a challenge for us. For every 1,000 books that we sell in 90 days, we'll be giving $500 to our Hawaii students towards anything that they need to expose their minds and their hearts and their souls to the world around them, to increase their background knowledge, anything that they need to help them know the civic responsibility and act as such is what we'll be giving the money to. And what's really nice is if we sell 2,000 books in 90 days, then we'll give $1,000 to our Hawaii school children to, again, help them on their journey. So if you can help us with that, that would be great. Also, we have magazines, monthly magazines that we put out. We talk about life stuff. They're absolutely free of charge. You can download them, sign up for our newsletter, and we can send them to you free of charge. So thank you again so much for tuning in, and you have a totally blessed day. Aloha.